Hello everyone, Marco255 here and welcome back to the FNaF Retrospective. Last time, we took a short detour from the horror FNaF games to look at FNaF World, which is surprisingly not that bad of an experience. However, it did come out at a very bad time, where people were begging for something new to make the story more set in stone. So Scott decided to tease the next game in the ending of the second update to FNaF World, where this cutscene plays.
The show will begin momentarily. Everyone, please stay in your seats.
I have a ton of nostalgia for this moment, and I still think it's a really fantastic moment to this day. After a plethora of teasers, the best trailer Scott has ever made for a game, and another troll game, FNaF's sister location released on the 7th of October 2016, with a large content update just a few months later on December 1st. This game was, and still is, one of the most controversial games in the entire franchise, being one people love, and others despise it because of its deviations from the usual FNaF formula. So I was naturally very excited to see what my opinion on this game would end up being. Let's see exactly what that was then. Here's part 5 of the FNaF Retrospective. YouTube. This game for me marks the second chapter out of 3 for the FNaF saga. The second Scott saga, if you will, where everything became a lot more higher quality. Not saying that the previous games weren't, obviously, these ones simply have a lot more going on, featuring voice acting, a ton more renders for the characters, areas, etc., and a ton of variety of things to do compared to the numbered entries. This game in particular was also the one that got me into the franchise, as I was there during the insane hype this game had, so I have quite a bit of nostalgia for this entry compared to all the others. Putting nostalgia aside though, what do I think of the game itself now having played all of it? Well, I am quite surprised to have enjoyed this game far more than I could have imagined, honestly. Because of how this game is structured, I will go over each night separately in this game, going over what I think of each of them, then covering any extra content, and finally giving my overall verdict. This game focuses a ton on story and a lot less on gameplay, so there will probably be a lot more story talk in this one than the others, as I believe this game is where it starts to get really complicated. Anyways, Night 1 acts as more of a tutorial night similar to FNaF 3, showing you the basics of how this game works. There's not really anything that happens here, it simply uses very basic things that horror games do to raise tension, like loud banging when you're in the vents that can't kill you ever, and Baby not appearing after shocking her a bunch even though Hand Unit thinks she does. There's not really anything to talk about here, so let's move on to the Immortal and the Restless, which I think is really charming and funny every time you finish a night. It fits with the game world and overall is a great break from the spooky main game stuff. Anyways, Night 2 has so much more than one and them some. We get our first introduction to Baby in voice form because that's all you ever see her as aside from Night 5, and you do a little spooky scene where you hide under a desk from some biddy babs which are piss easy to deal with because you just hold left click on the side of the desk so you keep it shut. After that, barely even a minigame, we get to trek through Ballora Gallery by crawling on the floor slowly and listening to how loud Ballora's music gets. These kinds of minigames in this game are just fine, honestly. They just evolve to walking and waiting for way longer than I'm okay with. The reason why we go through here is to get power back in the location via the breaker room, where the first actual FNaF-styled game happens against Funtime Freddy. You gotta slowly restore power back to each location on the map, but Freddy will slowly make his way over to you the longer you have the map open. To get rid of him, you play an audio track from the Bonnie hand puppet he has, named Bonnet, telling him that there's no one there until the danger meter goes down to continue. This is a decently fun minigame with the classic FNaF feel we all know and love. However, it does feel extremely bare bones compared to the previous FNaF games Scott made, so I'm glad that this is a one-off thing in this game instead of Scott trying to shoehorn it in further on into the game. It would have been cool to see more added to this minigame if Scott wanted to bring it back more often, but oh well. I'm just glad it didn't overstay its welcome. Anyways, take a look at this. No! Got to...
I don't think you
Yeah, I didn't beat it. Why? Because I wanted to make sure I did at least try everything on stream, okay? I did beat this when I was younger, so fuck you. Anyways, you go back with no potential threat this time, even though Ballora's there, and she just doesn't care, I guess. And the night ends, you watch another episode of The Immortal and the Restless, and Night 3! This one tasks us with going to the Funtime Auditorium to repair something within Funtime Freddy. However, you can also go to Baby's area and get some extra lore hints just because. It's pretty cool, but ultimately unnecessary for you to do because there's enough hints outside of it to show what's going on. Anyways, what you actually have to do is slowly trek through Funtime Auditorium, flashing your light sparingly whilst keeping track of where Funtime Foxy is. At first I didn't understand it at all, until I tried a rhythm of tapping the move key 4 times, then flashing whilst facing left. Funtime Foxy didn't even spawn once when I did that, so yeah, it's slow, but works. I wouldn't call this minigame bad per se, but I definitely think it's unnecessary. After that, you get to repair Funtime Freddy by slowly following what hand unit tells you to do, making sure you go for Freddy's left and right, not yours, fuck you Scott, and there's only one sort of difficult section where you need to quickly find and click the button on Bonbon. It's not too hard, and you need to get jump scared in the next section to move on to Night 4 anyway, so I'm not going to be talking about it for any longer. Whilst Night 3 is technically the weakest because it has the most nothing gameplay compared to the others, this one is just kinda here in my eyes with nothing truly standing out, making Night 3 probably my least favourite in the whole game. Now it's time to talk about Night 4, what most people consider to be the low point of this game. I don't get it, y'all. So, after the longest, most uninteresting cutscene of all time, you get to the main gameplay of the night, where you're thrown into a springlock suit and must make sure that the springlocks don't wind down all the way or you'll die. That's not all to this, however, as many arenas will start to slowly walk up the side of the suit and crawl into your suit. I'm not really sure, as they don't matter at all to the gameplay. But the ones crawling up do, because if they reach the top, you die. The way to combat this is to wiggle a little in the suit to shake them off, but it makes the springlocks wind down faster, making a very stressful but ultimately pretty fun minigame. Yes, it is still pretty bare bones, like the Funtime Freddy Breaker Room one, but I actually enjoyed this one quite a bit. It was stressful but never felt unfair. You know, I could be thinking this because of this.
Marco died.
What? I swear, in my life I did not watch anything to practice and understand the best strats. I did not skip to this night off stream to practice it on my own, and I completely expected to be trying that for an hour or two. But I guess this is why I should have my gaming license back, please, my pride and joy. I honestly think this is probably my favourite night in the game, outside of one we'll get to soon. After catching up on the Immortal and the Restless, we get to Night 5 and oh. Okay, let's book it through Funtime Auditorium where nothing can kill us, input this stupid code which really stresses me out when typing it in, grab this, go away the only render of baby you see during the main game, follow what is definitely her instructions when going back through to reach this thing.
Hey, wait a minute.
Marco has been gnashing for that for weeks.
But I have yearned to have that feeling of being scooped. And the game ends. Or does it? In the bottom left corner of the screen, the game says real ending very faintly, meaning there's clearly one other ending. The way to get that ending is to complete this torture simulator known as the Baby Cupcake minigame, which just sort of reestablishes what we already knew, but is still required to beat to unlock Beak's sister location, so yeah. I really have no idea what to think of this game. It just boils down to remembering the order of what you do to beat it. Am I gonna go through exactly what you do to access this insanely fun challenge? Get, shoot, 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 go, shoot, get, go, shoot, go, shoot, get, go, shoot, go, shoot, shoot, get, go, 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 yeah! Now just go through most of Night 5 and go right instead of forward when Babe Ennard is telling you where to go and...
Access granted.
It seems that you have accidentally wandered into a restricted area.
You enter a classic FNaF-styled night where you fend off Ennard, listening for the slightest squeaks and which direction they come from, conserving your power as best as possible because it's by far the most stingy here, like, wow, surviving until 6 AM. This minigame is so much fun, even if I didn't beat it. There is a reason as to why I haven't, which I'll get into later, but I just had such a fun and stressful time. My heart raced every time I got even halfway through an attempt, and that's what happens when you make a great FNaF gameplay loop. Another great way to tackle a one-on-one scenario, like Springtrap and Nightmare Fredbear from FNaFs 3 and 4 respectively. I think it is a little too RNG based on whether or not you win, but the main gameplay loop is fun enough to the point where I don't really mind it. Now is the time where I'd move on to other aspects of the game, but Scott decided that the Ennard night wasn't good enough, so he made a custom night featuring all the fan favourites from the main game, like Funtime Freddy, Ballora, and who could forget Yenda? This custom night is goddamn brilliant. There's a fantastic mix of visual and audio mechanics, with a bigger focus on audio, and most mechanics are done really well. Here's a brief explanation on how each character works. Ballora can be heard on either side of the office. If her music gets hella loud, close the door you hear her at. Funtime Freddy runs from the west and east closet cameras, periodically with an audio cue, and will send Bonbon to attack. If he says for Bonbon to get to you, "Hey Bonbon, go get him!" close the door he is closest to. But if he announces a surprise, "Get ready for a surprise!" close the opposite door. This is one of my favourite mechanics as it means you never really need to check on him if you pay attention. Yendo is basically Golden Freddy but will also rapidly deplete your oxygen meter whilst he is in your office, giving you the smallest better incentive to get rid of him fast. Funtime Foxy is the exact same as Foxy, you just keep looking at them until they're gone, when you need to close the right door. Bonnets will randomly appear across the bottom of your screen after opening the cameras, and you just click on her nose to get her away. Bidybab is sort of similar to Foxy in a way, as they periodically get closer to the vent door, but there's a sound cue for when they get to it, so you'll never realistically need to check them if you listen carefully. Electrobab and Mini Arena 1 both work the same way. They appear and slowly drain your power and oxygen respectively, and you'll have to give them a controlled shock to stop them. Mini Arena will always spawn on the same camera, but Electrobab will always spawn on the opposite camera to Funtime Freddy, so if you know where he is, you know where Electrobab is. Lolbib will randomly spawn on one of the TVs in your office desk, and you have to type LOL to get them away. And finally, Mini Arena 2, the most unique character choice ever, just covers your screen. You can't prevent it. Yay. Some of these mechanics in combination with one another makes for some of the most stressful yet entertaining FNaF gameplay there is. I haven't seriously tried doing the hardest challenge yet, and I don't think I will for a while because it looks insane, but doing some of the other challenges on the harder difficulties was an absolute blast. I'd honestly say this custom night is right up there with FNaF 4 in terms of how fun and well thought out the mechanics are made. And that's all of the gameplay things in this location. While the main game is pretty bare bones all things considered, there are some mini games here and there that are pretty damn fun, and the custom night is definitely worth drudging through the mid and somewhat boring main game. Now we can move on to other aspects of the game. About time. I fucking love the cast of characters within this game. This is the first game in the franchise which had a full voice cast for most characters within this game, so they all have a ton of personality and are so much fun to experience. My personal favourite character in terms of personality is definitely Funtime Freddy. Callan Goff is just incredible and steals the show in any game he is featured in. However, in terms of how cool the character is as a whole, I'd say Enid is clearly the best animatronic introduced within this game. From the incredible concept of every key animatronic from the game fused together, to the really cool design, to the way they are implemented within the story, everything just works with this guy in my eyes. Definitely a personal favourite from the entire series alongside most others from this game. The music within this game is also really good. This was the first horror game in the franchise to feature a completely original OST, and songs like the title theme and Watch Your 6 really showed the potential for music within horror games, as Watch Your 6 especially fits the scenario perfectly and raises the stakes so much more than just having generic ambience. I'm definitely going to use this song more in these videos. Now I guess we should talk about the story. What the hell is this? Okay, I don't hate this game's story and the stuff it adds to the lore. It's just that it adds so many crazy concepts that we were never told about before, like Remnant and entire separate restaurant brands from Fazbear Entertainment, that the franchise feels a lot less grounded in reality. Everything previously in the series tackled crazy concepts and stories, yes, but did so in a way that felt like it could potentially happen in reality in some way. Springlock suits felt like an actual thing that could exist. Compare that to soul juice that you inject into metal endoskeletons inside animatronics to give them humanoid characteristics. It's not really that bad of a change in the course of the story, more on that in the future, but I do definitely miss the feeling of reality with the story. At least the story within the game is pretty decent, being gaslit gay-kept girl bossed by Baby to follow her every command until she takes your body, then she's like, oh shit, this is like a corpse so it rots. So she gets right out of there and you're still alive. The story shit in this game gets really weird, but sometimes really compelling, honestly. You see, this dude is Michael Afton, son of William Afton, aka the man behind the slaughter, and the sibling of the crying child in Elizabeth Afton. Elizabeth Afton is this girl, and yeah, she's Baby and you play as Michael, so it's basically the daughter gaslighting her brother into giving her his body so she can live on. The non-canon Enid Knight really emphasizes this because Enid starts mimicking Elizabeth's voice.
Hello? I know it was an accident.
It's hella dark but really effective from a story standpoint. However, there are still big problems like the significant underuse of the main character Baby. Yes, she speaks to you frequently throughout the game past night 2, but there's literally only a single render of her used in any section, that being her slumped over in the maintenance room. There were so many times where it would be awesome if you even got a glimpse of her, but there's just nothing, not even in the custom night, which had 2 separate things of the exact same character, and made up Electrobab for pretty much no reason. Replacing Electrobab with Baby makes so much sense because Baby's controlled shock button stops working on night 2. And Electrobab drains power, so yeah, I honestly want to believe Scott totally planned for Baby to be here, but either ran out of time and shoehorned in Electrobab, or just lost his brain and couldn't be bothered to change it. Anyways, the jump scares in this game go from some of the best in the damn franchise to this. The main animatronics from the series have the insanely creative idea for a jump scare of having their faceplates open to show their endoskeleton, and it is great in every single one that uses it. You don't exist. The others unfortunately don't have anything like it, and Scott made brand new much less cool jump scares for the custom night, so yeah, a few based ones, my favourite being Belora's, but the others kinda fall flat. The horror is something I can't really decide on whether it works or not, because some aspects of the game did scare me, but I feel like it was more out of the stress of the gameplay instead of the scenario actually being horrific. So it's really a mixed bag overall. The renderings of the characters are actually pretty decent, you know, when there are some, but the custom night ones are especially cool looking in my eyes. Here are some base ones as per usual. The last thing I want to mention that I honestly despise are the checkpoints within the nights of this game, because fuck 'em! Why on earth did Scott think it was a good idea to have a checkpoint not after the Ballora Gallery section in Night 2 and the sections going through Funtime Auditorium? It just adds inflated difficulty because you gotta do shit you already did, and it just feels like it pads out the game time. The checkpoints are honestly why I haven't beaten End of Night yet. If it plopped you straight back into it instead of needing to do this stupid keypad again, then I'd have a ton more motivation to try it out more. But needing to do this just makes it a slog. This one thing is honestly the main thing that people can bring up when talking about why this game sucks, because I definitely disagree, but this almost makes me hate it. And I think that's it. Wait, hold on, there's one more thing I gotta check, and that's the cutscene that plays once you beat the Golden Freddy challenge in Custom Night.
I'm going to come find you.
What? He's alive? Holy moly, the next game's gonna be the hypest of all games ever, let's go! I'm so excited to see all the teasers for it. And that just about covers everything in Sister Location. For all this game's faults, which there are clear ones, there are some genuinely really good aspects of this game that shine through and sort of make me like it more than I should. Honestly, I think the good of this game does indeed outweigh the bad here, and I was not expecting that. I was expecting this to be at most higher than FNaF 2 on the tier list, but I honestly think, and I know everyone's gonna hate me for saying this, but like it more than FNaF 1, there's just enough in this game to make me place it above that game, from the personalities of the characters, to the custom night, which is just FNaF 2 but good, to the story stuff. Nostalgia is not clouding my view on this game, I swear. Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator is next, and I have been so damn excited to get to this one, for many reasons I'll get into when the time comes. Anyways guys, that's just about it for today's video everybody, I really hope you all enjoyed it, and if you like my channel then why not subscribe, click the like button, check out these videos, share with friends and family, check out my Discord server, and click the bell to be notified when any new videos come out. Anyways guys, I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.